Okay, so in today's lab, we're going to install Apache and then we'll install PHP. I'm going to get started by installing Apache. So to install Apache, we have to download first the source code. And so let's go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and grab the source code for Apache, hit save. And now we'll say go ahead and tar xzvf from downloads and then Apache code. Go inside of the sources. So now that we unarchived, decompressed, we go inside of the sources, we say configure, and then dash prefix equals home Napix Apache. I will also add another element, dash enable SO. This is the default setting anyway. We are enabling objects, symbolically linked objects. Okay. This means that we can have an external module, and we can link that module during boot time into Apache. So we don't have to compile it in like we did in the past. Okay, so we go ahead and enable SO, and we'll go ahead and execute it. Oops, I misspelled configure. So the enable SO is going to create the APXS binary file, and that is the extension program that allows us then later to feed it into PHP sources and actually produce a matching module. Okay, so that's going to happen here for a second. Now, in this lab, we're going to work with PHP version 4.4.8. It's by now it's a little bit an older version of PHP, but it's not a big deal. We can take a newer version of Apache and we would work the same way with it. Okay, so now that I configured it, I can say make followed by make install, and the compilation is taking place. All right, I'm going to enable these instructions inside of Blackboard so that you can access them, and you can also get started if you want to. So we'll enable this. All right. Okay. As part of our work with Apache today, what we'll find out is that the Napix operating system is going to need to get an update to actually work with PHP. Okay. When we start compiling PHP, we'll find that we're missing a library called Flex. And it's fairly common to find that some required libraries, some dependencies are not working. Okay, and so in that case you have to actually enable it and install it. All right, so now my Apache system is installed. I can take a closer look at the files. Here's Apache directory. So now it's time to go ahead and download PHP. Now I'll just go ahead and go to our Radar site to do that. Okay, I'll just grab it right off the Radar site. Save it. And now I will say tar-xzvf downloads and PHP. So now I have PHP source files and I have Apache source files. Okay. My next step is going to be to update my operating system. I'll say su dash, and su dash is a command which allows me to log in to the operating system as root. I opened a new terminal to do that, and I will run the command apt-get update. This is going to allow Knoppix to recompile its inventory of available software, and it's going to contact repositories. It's fairly common in Unix systems which are open source, so in Linux systems, to have repositories where software is stored. So you don't have to look for CDs, you don't have to download the software. It'll download for you automatically from those matching repositories. Okay, so that's what it's doing. It's checking different packages. And so we'll take a minute to do that. Okay, so with this in place, I updated my Knoppix. Now I'll say apt-get, and I'll issue the command to install Flex. Again, we're doing this because I know ahead of time that we'll need it. Most of the time you sort of have to work with it later on. All right, let's see what happened here. Okay, so what we're dealing with here is an additional step before our command for apt-get install Flex will work. We have to increase the cache that the operating system is going to have for these downloads. So this is done by editing editing a file, and this file is under etc apt conf.d 70deb conf. Okay, so that is the file which is going to tell apt-get, hey, you can go ahead and store more space. Okay, I'll edit this file. I have to add a new line, and that new line is right here. We say apt cache limit of 1 with 8 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Semicolon at the end. Save, and I should be able to rerun my apt-get install. And now it says, do you want to install? Yes, I do. Yes, I want to verify, or install it without verification. Either way, I'm good with that. And so it'll install. All right. So what we did here is we ran 3 important commands. First, apt-get update as root. So we log in as root, we run apt-get update, then we run apt-get install Flex. That ended up for us with an error having to do with cache. So we ended up increasing the cache limit for apt-get. If you have any trouble with that, let me know, and I'll stop by. I'll make sure that this works for you. Okay, so with this in place, I have to actually download my PHP files one more time. I ended up reworking this a moment ago. So Raider and CO246. Let's grab those PHP files. Okay, and so now I will go ahead and open them up. They're in the download section. And my next step is going to go inside of the PHP files and run the configure line here by saying, okay, first of all, prefix. So where should PHP be installed into? Please put it under home, Knoppix PHP. Next, we're going to say, go ahead and make sure to use MySQL database. So include all the modules we need to talk to MySQL database. And then we will say with apxs2, because we're using Apache version 2, that's the command with apxs2, and then equals home nopix, and this file actually has to exist by now, so this file exists in my bin directory, and I will go ahead and run it and execute it. If you did not install Flax, you will get an error at this point that Flax is required. Okay, so my PHP configured correctly. Okay, it says, hey, we're ready to be compiled. So I can say now make, and it's going to be running like this for a while, compiling PHP. Then we'll issue make install. Okay, so we've run into some trouble with compiling PHP. It turns out that we did not have enough memory in the virtual machine. So here's how we're going to fix it. I'll go to virtual machine, power, power off. So virtual machine, power, power off. So let's have everybody do that. Virtual machine, power, power off. And that's the same as basically pushing the power button on the virtual machine. When you see your screens, go to edit virtual machine, and then drag the memory from what it was before, which was 512, to 1 gigabyte. Or just type in 1024. Okay, you drag this you drag this memory indicator right here. Go to edit virtual settings. All right, and then drag that to 1 gig. All right. Next, we say OK, and we say play virtual machine. So our previous virtual machine, it had no problem downloading source files. It had no problem compiling Apache. But when it came to compiling PHP, the 512 of meg of memory was not enough. And those types of, I think this is a nice realistic setting where we have errors that are not exactly telling us what's wrong, right? I mean, errors basically that point us into some kind of rabbit hole. So that's why sort of the process of figuring out what's wrong. Okay, so now I'm going to start over the process, but let me show you a shortcut. First of all, I'm not going to open the browser yet. I'm just going to go to my terminal, and I will download with wget. I'll say wget http raider.grcc.edu/my username /CO246 cmd.txt. This is a small text file that, as in any other cooking show, I prepared ahead of time. Okay, and in this text file, I have the whole string of commands to compile Apache. Very good, and we'll fix that at some point later, yeah. Okay, so now that I have this file downloaded, I can look inside of it, and I can see that it's going to download source files, it's going to decompress and unarchive, it's going to configure my Apache. So this is just the Apache part. That's the entire lab 1 in our course, the Apache part. So I'll go ahead and execute that, and you can do that as well. This is sort of a quick way of running the first lab. So let me write down this this command. I'll go ahead and write the command down. So I said wget http raider.grcc.edu username /CO246 cmd.txt. Go ahead and type that in. This guy right here, the command line right here. Yep. And go ahead and type in what's perfect. And now your next command is going to be sh/cmd.txt. And that's going to execute whatever is in that file, and as a result it's going to download Apache. And I'm doing it for you because I feel responsible for all the work you've done a minute ago. All right. You have to type in sh first. So you see that it says sh space cmd.txt. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we are downloading the shortcut, and Apache is getting compiled on the back end. As the next piece, we need to download. Okay, the next piece, we need to download our PHP sources. And so we're going to grab PHP sources momentarily. Okay, at the same time, please open a new tab in our terminal. Just open a new tab and go ahead and log in as root. And from our lab, we'll rerun the apt-get update. Remember, that's one of those updates that we run, and it's going to run for a little bit. And after that, you will issue again apt-get install flex. So we still have to go through those elements. All right. All right. So that's misspelled right there. And I'll switch here so you can see it again. Okay, so those two are running. This is the command right here. Yeah. All right, so my Apache actually is already installed, which is great. I'm going to leave it like that. Yeah. And then the update is running. Let me help you.
I'm taking a keyboard class next semester.
Good deal. All right. And so this looks fine. We'll just say this. All right. All right, did you run the apt-get update first? Okay, it's okay. This is already installed for you. Excellent. This is running perfect. Perfect. Okay, so Kelly had a great idea. Let's just go ahead and edit our config file for the apt-get at the same time. So Apache is done compiling. We are running the updates. So now I'll open a new tab, and here I'll say as root, hey, let's increase the apt-get cache. And so this is done by using the syntax of apt cache limit 1, 2, 3, save the file. Okay. All right. So we're doing a few things at the same time. Okay. Let me pause for a moment right here. Okay. So far, I ran apt-get update, and I also edited my cache limit in the 7.0 deb.conf file. So now I'll say apt-get install flex. And when this is completed, my operating system is now ready for PHP, for compiling PHP. And so we'll go ahead and run this. And I just said yes to the couple of questions. And okay. Okay, so now we're ready to compile PHP. And so per our instructions, we're going to, let's see, what we need to do is we need to actually get our PHP sources. So I'll go ahead and I'll open the browser for this, and I'll navigate to rater.grcc.edu/my username CO246, and we'll grab the PHP sources. By the way, once you downloaded them, go ahead and close the browser. If memory is what we were missing, let's make sure that we don't use it for silly things. Okay. So now I have, in my downloads directory, I have PHP. Next part, tar xzvf downloads PHP. That's going to open my PHP source files. Is everybody with me? All right, let's see. This is perfect. This is where we want to be. Let's open the browser for you. All right, and Kelly, let's see. The last thing you ran is this. Okay, yeah, so all we have to do is just edit that cache limit file. Oh, I see.
It's right there.
Oh, so you just maybe didn't save it.
How do you say that? NDI.
You press escape. You press escape and then
And then
you
shift
and then
SS.
shift, yeah.
ZZ or S?
ZZ.
Oh.
Let's do a recover. Okay, and so you type this in perfectly. Now we're going to save it. And now we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. Okay, let's see. Perfect. So now when you issue this command, oops, or maybe in this tab. Now when you issue this command, it's going to work. All right. All right, did you finish it?
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. All right. Is everybody with me? Okay. Yes. Yes, there's no space here. Like this. No space, it should be okay. And so now you should, whoa. And then you missed also the semicolon at the end here.
Oh.
All right, it should be all right now. Okay, so now I'll just follow the instructions to say, go ahead, go inside of the PHP source files, issue the configure command, prefix equals home Napix, home Napix PHP. We want to do this with MySQL. We want to do it with APXS2, which is located under home Napix Apache bin APXS. Looks all right, and let's run this part of the config. Okay. Yes. All right. All right. All right. Perfect. Perfect. All right. We'll grab this file.
Oh, that's what you're doing.
We'll grab this file. Save it. And we'll make sure to close the browser. All right. And now you're right here.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, with more memory, they work much better.
This gave me a whole bunch of 404 errors.
That's fine. That should be all right. Yeah. Kelly, doing all right?
I think it's all right. It's just in the wrong file.
Okay, you can press tab. It'll fill it in for you.
I was in the other tab, so it won't do it, right?
So you have to download those PHP files first.
Oh, I think I'm
What's that? You download them right next to where our other files were at. So it's on the Radar website. Okay, so at this point, I just issued configure, and now I'll issue the make command. And this is that step that we were failing before. And so now with more memory, it's going to go ahead and go through. All right.
So you use these right here.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and it's right here as well.
So then
That's that command.
yeah, so
Only
you type
only that's the one.
wget,
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly it. Okay, so it's compiling. All right, did that work for you?
I think I had to
All right, let's just take a closer look.
I'm just going to add that into it and run it again.
Okay, well, let me just take a closer look what happened here. Okay, this looks fine. And this looks fine. So I don't think you have to edit it. Now, what did you want to change here?
I was going to add
Oh, yeah. That's actually optional. Yeah, you can skip that
I
because
like the port 8080, I think.
we'll change that in a minute too. Yeah, just go ahead and run with us the same way we do. So you just go ahead and say something like remove all that stuff that's already here and then run. And it's going to, yeah, it's going to, there you go. Yep. Okay, so my build is successful. Look at that. The build is successful. I typed in make, and now I'll issue make install, which is going to move all the binaries into their new home under home topics then PHP. All right, I'm going to pause at this. Okay, so let me continue. The last thing we ran was make install, which means that my Knoppix user now has a PHP directory config files. And let's see if there's anything about PHP. Look, Jason, this is a line you're missing. By default, my APXS has already installed the load module line, which basically reads in the module for PHP. The only thing that we have to do is we have to associate this module with an extension on a file. And we do that by saying add type followed by application /x httpd -php. And so if you would like to have another extension associated with PHP, you can add it here. So now I'll go ahead and save it. Actually, before I save it, let me change the listen port. I have it listening on port 80. I'll add, so it's port 8080. I save it. The next thing that I'll do is I'll create a file under my htdocs. I'll call the file index.php. Inside, I'll say something like php info, and that's our test PHP page. I'll go ahead and restart, and this is fine. Let's open a browser now and go to localhost port 8080 index.php, and there it is. PHP is running. A single function in this file, that's all I wrote, outputs all this text. And you'll see that PHP is very powerful. In just a few lines of code, you can do a lot of good. I can say echo hello world. And now I changed my PHP file so that it outputs hello world. Notice that if I look inside, actually let's do this, view page source, the PHP code itself, the echo, it's hidden. So users cannot see the code that's on the server side. So I can now comment that out and get back my function, and if I refresh, I see the PHP info. So this is the goal of today's lab, and I'll pause the. All right, so from here, we can put all kinds of files in htdocs directory that run PHP, and it's going to create a database-driven application on our browser. So we will next install OS Commerce, and that's going to be our database-driven application.